Hi, I'm Patrick Ralston, Director of the Arkansas Arts Council. Today was supposed to be the luncheon for our Governor's Arts Awards ceremony. That's the ceremony that we have every year where we award and recognize recipients of the Governor's Arts Awards, people who have made significant contributions to the arts across the state of Arkansas. Unfortunately, the coronavirus had other plans. So instead, we are just going to release these videos today and share them with you. These are profiles of the 8 people and organizations that are receiving our Governor's Arts Awards this year. These are the people and organizations that stand for the arts, that help deliver the arts to the people of Arkansas, that are really the people that help build the portfolio of art in Arkansas. So I hope that you enjoy these profiles.
In the second grade, even at that time, I was drawing and painting. And one day, I was in class drawing, and the young lady said to the teacher, "Henry is back there drawing. He's not paying attention to what you're saying." She said, "Well, leave him alone. One day he may become an artist." I was born so far out in the country, I didn't know there was such thing as art. It was just an inclination that I had. Okay, this is a collection of newspaper articles and photographs from my early career. Oh yeah, bring back memories. Around about 12th grade, I decided I wanted to attend art school. Never been out of Alabama and didn't know what an art school looked like. I entered this art competition, a national competition, and I won top prize. And I had my chest struck out. I was off to Ohio. Never been out of Alabama. As far as I've been was Birmingham, which was only 50 miles away. I didn't have money to attend art school. My parents didn't have any money. My high school principal sent for me during the summer and asked me to send this gentleman a letter and tell him what I was getting ready to do and how much money I needed. And this was Buford Boone. He was the publisher of the Tuscaloosa News. A couple days later, I received a check for $500 and promised $75 a month as long as I was in school. This letter notifying me that I would receive financial assistance to attend Boston University. I had some friends that submitted my resume, and I was offered a scholarship to attend Boston University. And after finishing school, I was offered a job here in Pine Bluff. Never been to Pine Bluff, but the school was founded as a school to educate the poor classes. Well, we now have students from throughout the United States and other countries. We still have not lost sight of what our mission is. That is to educate all people. 1980, I was made chairman of the art department. Another thing I'm very proud of, that I was able to get the art department accredited by the National Association of Schools of Art and Design. And one of the few historical black schools that were accredited by the National Association. Sometimes you can lay a color in and make a mark that create the effect you want, then sometimes you back off and say, well, I'll come back to it. Well, my earlier paintings was figurative. I was dealing with a lot of social issues even in college. Most of my paintings dealt with social issues, how we live, racial relationship. I do protest paintings about Vietnam. After 1980, I began to do a series of paintings dealing with the Arkansas landscape. But people knew of my work and they commissioned me to do large-scale paintings for public buildings that have large spaces, and by nature they need large paintings. It all made up of who I am. I love my art and I wouldn't want to do anything else. But I also have a passion for history, understanding the history, and I think it's important to who we are. building was slated to be torn down to make way for a student union building. But I asked the chancellor to save this building and place it on the National Register of Historical Places. And there's just so much history, African American history, that people just not aware of, and they need to know it. You know, I always try to understand I am what I am and what I've been able to achieve because of other people. You know, I stand on the shoulders of John Howard, Isaac Hathaway, Lon Davis, my high school principal. These are people that supported me. And hopefully at the end of your life you have done something that is worthwhile, or you're able to help someone. Because painting is a painting, a picture is a picture, but what have you done to help someone else? And I think it's just important that we continue to, you know, live and work together to be a better world.
Arkansas Health and Wellness is a health insurance company in Arkansas that offers Ambetter, our marketplace product, as well as Allwell, our Medicare Advantage product line. So Arkansas Health and Wellness has supported many different types of nonprofit organizations. Specifically within the arts, we support the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra, which is a fantastic organization, and of course Akansa, which is my personal favorite week of every year. The Akansa Festival is one of my favorite weeks of every year. It's just something that my husband and my family and I go to. It has such a fantastic wide variety of arts, music, dance, theater programs. It never disappoints. We are big supporters also of the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra. I am a board member of the ASO, and personally it's an organization that is very important to my family and I. I played the violin growing up, and we just feel that music and arts are a really important part of our children's lives. Part of my participation in the ASO is to help further music education programs in Arkansas. It's something that I was lucky that I grew up with, and I feel like it should be a big part of what we do here in Arkansas. Personally, the arts have always been very important to me. I'm not a native Arkansan. We moved here 8 years ago because of a job offer that my husband received. And before I even went and looked at schools or housing, I went online to see what type of arts culture exists in Arkansas and in Little Rock. I looked to see, is there a theater? Is there an orchestra? Is there a ballet? What type of community music programs exist for my kids? In addition to the arts, we support many nonprofits throughout Arkansas. We've done a lot to support the Arkansas Heart Association with the Heart Ball and the Go Red for Women's Luncheon. We have done Soup Sunday, Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families, and we have a recent larger partnership with the Special Olympics of Arkansas and had a really great presence at the Summer Games last year. At Arkansas Health and Wellness, helping Arkansas live better is our purpose. And so while having access to affordable quality health care is very important and is what we do, it's only a part of what we do and what's important for Arkansans. Supporting the arts helps people on so many other levels and helps keep a vibrant culture and helps people with their health directly. I'm very proud to work for a health insurance company that is looking to help someone's whole health as a person. It's what makes us more than just a health insurance company.
For me, I think the performing and the visual arts not only impact tourism and give us a great product to sell, but it also greatly impacts the quality of life for our local residents in our community. And I'm a resident here too, and I love the performing and the visual arts. And so for both of those reasons, you know, my professional life and my personal life kind of collide with the arts being a big piece of that. So I'm the president and CEO of the Little Rock Convention and Visitors Bureau. And we manage several public facilities in Little Rock, including the River Market, State House Convention Center, and the Robinson Center. We also are the marketing and sales organization for the City of Little Rock. So we recruit meetings and conventions. We do general tourism advertising for the destination. Early 2011, the facility was many years old. It had a lot of deficiencies, and we were starting to have serious conversations about the need to infuse a significant amount of money to do a major renovation to not only save and restore a historic landmark in downtown Little Rock, but also create a world-class performance theater for the city in Central Arkansas. Everyone that has lived in or around Central Arkansas for any amount of time have a personal tie to this building. I got to hear all of those stories through the years of this project. And then we also added this really great modern new structure to the north side of it to really give the building two front faces. So it's got its historical southern facade, and then it's got a northern facade that's real modern and all glass feature that wraps the building. And I think they did an amazing job of pulling together the new and the historic in a very nice way. You know, it was not only a sigh of relief, but it was also a proud moment. At that point, we were 5 years into the deal, and it had not only taken over my life and many others' lives. Our owners team was a tight-knit group of now friends. These public facilities are not only to generate economic impact from a tourism standpoint, but they also greatly impact the quality of life for residents. And so this building not only has a conference center where we can recruit meetings and conventions to town, and that helps generate additional economic impact, but it truly is a world-class performing arts center. It's home to our symphony orchestra, Ballet Arkansas, and our Broadway theater series, among a variety of other concerts. So it greatly impacts the quality of life for the community, and it is far-reaching in that impact. And so we knew the significant importance of this building, and we were so pleased to actually have the financial standing to be able to tackle it without having to go increase taxes, without having to make a major public push for additional funding. I've had the great fortune to work for an organization that provides tremendous support for the arts in our community, and whether that is direct marketing dollars for great institutions like the Rep, Ballet Arkansas, or the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra, whether that is helping develop and grow our amazing public sculpture collection here in Central Arkansas, whether that's creating programming and partnerships like Jazz in the Park that benefits the Art Porter Music Foundation, or providing tremendous public dollars for the future Arkansas Arts Center renovation, or getting to lead this project with the Robinson Center and really restoring a historic landmark that is the anchor performing arts center in Central Arkansas. I've had the great fortune to work for an organization that has allowed me to be a part of all of those organizations.
So what would you say if we're doing like a lower third, what would your job title be?
Oh, Executive Director of Arts Live Theater, founder of Actors Casting Agency. Got a lower third. Theater producer, casting director, film producer, playwright, actor. That's 4. This when I was 14. I was a mime in one of the first plays that I did. And if you look real closely, you can see my retainer still there.
Hey, Marty. Boss wants to see you.
Yeah?
Yeah, he said, send me the Gordon that no one's ever heard of. And that kind of eliminates the question formally. So, yeah, be you.
Then I started writing plays when I was in 3rd grade and would force my class to participate in those. These are the plays that have been published, that I've written. It's not all of them, and I do a lot of adaptations of 50s and 60s films that are in the public domain, and then also do a lot of adaptations of children's stories, and then do a flip on them, like this came out last year, Alice in Wonderland, Down the Rabbit Hole. But when I went to college, I went to Rhodes College in Memphis, and even though I was focused on acting, they taught us how to do everything really, really well. So I didn't appreciate it at the time, but as I started working, I realized that there's not always a job for an actor. But I learned how to do sets and costumes and lights and sound and box office management. So because of that, I've been able to stay constantly employed for 40 years, working in some facet of theater or film.
Didn't know what I was missing till we started kissing. Didn't know what I was missing till we started kissing.
Moved to Fayetteville in the year in 1999 to go to graduate school for MFA in acting, and became involved with Arts Live. Started as a teacher and as a producer or director, and then I became artistic director and then executive director. So I've been involved for about 20 years. Why is teaching important to me? Because I remember in my own education, those teachers, those people, those professors who made such a difference and totally believed in me, and how that completely changed my life and gave me a career. And I want to be that voice for, it just takes one, when it's so easy. I'm gonna start crying.
He is in the darkest place. 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 He is in the darkest place.
I think that it's important for artists to create their own opportunities. If you wait for someone to knock on the door, you're just going to be waiting a lot. And it's so easy to create content now. You can make a YouTube series on your phone. You can edit everything, you can do the sound on it, you can run it through a couple of filters and it'll look fantastic. And then you can have an international audience within 24 hours. Being involved in so many different facets of the industry gives me such respect for all the pieces of the puzzle that it takes. Every piece of the puzzle is so important. If we're putting together a picture puzzle and we've gotten down to the last piece and that last piece is missing, that entire picture is compromised. So we encourage our actors and our directors and our writers to be a piece of that puzzle that completely completes that picture.
I think that being an artist is what really helped my become an administrator and what I do as an administrator, and I don't see that there's a big difference between what I do in my studio practice to what I do in my teaching to what I do as an administrator. So when I make work, I make small little parts to make really big things, and I feel like you have to think about what the big picture and how those small parts fit into a larger concept. And I feel like I've been very good and strategic as an administrator because I've learned that in my studio practice. A small object has to fit into a larger object or a big series of objects. Once I got into undergrad is when I really started to think more about teaching. I had 3 male professors. It was a heavily male-dominated environment, and I just felt like there needed to be more women that represented the field, and so I went to graduate school and decided to be a teacher. It's just like, I don't know if I ever really made any decisions on what exactly I was going to do next. It was just where I was always moving in the direction. So I was just hired as an assistant professor at like 28 years old. Knew I wanted to build a ceramics program. Didn't know if I could do it, but just thought I could. I was one faculty of, I think at that time we had about 12, and just really built ceramics, started to hire more people, grew my graduate program. And then at a certain point after I got tenure and after I went to Taiwan and came back, it was pretty clear that I was wanted to be chair of the Department of Art, and in hopes of what I had been doing for ceramics that could help facilitate what other programs wanted to do with their programs, and so I tried to do that. People needed more support, and that was my primary goal, to fix problems, remove barriers, get as much support as possible to enable students and faculty and the region to help facilitate and build what they should be, which is the central destination for art in this country. You know, we got Chicago, got Kansas City, we got Northwest Arkansas, you know. We really care about moving the needle for Arkansas students to get a four-year degree and to choose art, because like I said, I would not be a good administrator. I would not have been able to do anything I've been able to accomplish if I didn't have an art degree. I cried when I read the letter. It was so valuable to be a J. William Fulbright Associate Dean and a Fulbright Scholar at the same time. It's really kind of amazing. And that was after a lot of the gifts and various things that happened on campus. So I just needed a break. And I ended up focusing on full-on teaching and then curating a show and building wheels and helping them with some things, but really also learning probably more from the country and the people and my colleagues about my work and my practice and what I think is valuable than maybe I gave to them, for sure. You know, there's always more to do, and so I don't feel like this is, you know, I still have so much I want to accomplish in my life, and so even though it seems like it's a career type of award, I feel like my career just started.
And so after school, we'd come over to the art center and take art classes. And I think I was terrible at it, but I truly loved it. Well, I was, as they say, born and raised in El Dorado, as was Suzanne. We spent our lives here until going to college. And then when we graduated from college, we moved back to El Dorado. And so El Dorado has always been home. And it remains so. My grandmother was one of, I think, the founders of the Art Center, or integral in its creation, as were my parents. They saw the importance culturally, you know, for society. And so to me, it was a natural. That was an environment that I grew up in with a healthy appreciation for a range of arts. And I've just always felt that it's a window into the sort of the soul of humanity, good and bad.
Suzanne and Madison Murphy are extremely important to us here at the South Arkansas Art Center. Not only do they come in and participate and see the shows and just participate in the life of the center, they're also very important in supporting our arts and education program, which provides about 1,200 hours of artists in the classroom throughout Union County. So that program has been going since 1982, and it would be impossible without their support.
I think the arts they're important on multiple levels of a civil society. but they're also truly important for economics. We said we need a great restaurant and a bar and a performing venue. And so the Griffin is that. But behind it is a 2,000 person indoor performing hall with an 8,000 person outdoor amphitheater that shares all the same infrastructure. A 2.5 acre children's playscape adjacent to it. And so that is what the Murphy Arts District is today. Suzanne has been every bit as integral and interested as I have. We've been, I would say, partners not only in life, but in all of these endeavors. Whether she's on the board of the foundation, we make all those decisions mutually and jointly. And so Suzanne has been sort of a quiet driving force. I have every confidence in the talent here, the bones here, people's can-do attitude, their tenacity, and their innate abilities. And if we can keep that talent level in this region, then this place can, I can't maybe dream about what this could become. We need to be a place where this community goes, you know what, that's mine, I'm part of that. That's for me.
It's Down Home Harmonies here on KASU Public Radio from Arkansas State University. I'm Marty Scarbrough, looking forward to being with you tomorrow night for KASU's Bluegrass Monday with Monroe Crossing. Here's one of their songs, as they'd love to do, take songs from outside of the world of bluegrass and give them kind of a bluegrass spin. Here's Monroe Crossing with their great version of the Everly Brothers classic, Wake Up Little Susie. I started a radio show that was kind of all different genres of music. It was kind of a mixture of Americana and folk and bluegrass. But what people were responding to most was the bluegrass music. And that show kind of evolved into nothing but bluegrass. And being here in a primarily rural part of the state, there were a lot of towns whose downtown areas were kind of falling into disrepair. Businesses were moving out. We were trying to find reasons to get people to go back to the downtown.
Well, I am so glad to see so many new faces here tonight. I'm so glad that you've chosen to spend your Monday night with us here at the beautiful Collins Theater in downtown Paragould, Arkansas.
Bluegrass Monday is an event that takes place on the fourth Monday night of every month. It's a family-friendly event that KASU presents. There's no admission fee. We don't charge anything for anyone to walk in the door. And we bring in top-notch bluegrass bands from all across the country to play at the beautiful Collins Theater in downtown Paragould, Arkansas. That's been our home for about the past 10 years or so. We literally pass the hat at these concerts. Myself, the radio station, we don't make any money off of Bluegrass Monday. 20 years ago, we started these concerts in Jonesboro at a time in which live music just really didn't happen in Jonesboro, Arkansas. The very first concert we ever had, we had no idea how many people were going to show up. And it was standing room only at the little restaurant where we were first hosting these concerts. But now I think we kind of introduced to businesses the idea that if you have live music, people will come and they'll hear it. And if you go to downtown Jonesboro now and look at it compared to 20 years ago, we've got a thriving downtown area, multiple restaurants. You'll hear music multiple nights a week in multiple venues. And we at KASU want to think we have maybe just a little something to do with kind of help kickstart that and get that going. And we're trying to replicate that in other cities around our region. It's such a blessing to see these people who've built a community around this music.
I want to shut up and let you hear. Please welcome back to Bluegrass Monday our friends from Minnesota. Here's Monroe Crossing. Marty Scarbrough!
Well, people ask me, say, well, bluegrass music, that's my grandparents' music, you know, and the oldest generation who enjoys bluegrass right now is always worried about, oh, this music's going to die out. We've got to have younger people coming, and that's a valid concern, but I've always found that in speaking with people who enjoy bluegrass music, most of them discover it a bit later in life. They find something in bluegrass music with its authenticity, with its passion, with the stories that are told in the music. That now connects with them at a point later in life that maybe it didn't when they were younger. You know, for generations before television, people would get together and make music to entertain themselves. They would bring friends and family and neighbors together for just live music. And I think there's something unique about our state that has endured, and that's kind of trickled down to future generations. There have been so many musicians who've emerged from our state because of the past and the way that music is more than just something you hear on the radio or just something more that's in the background. It's something that's a vital part of people's lives. And I'm just glad to be able to be a small part of sharing that tradition through the radio show and through these concerts.
When you're an adolescent, life's hard anyway. I mean, who wants to go back and be a 7th or an 8th grader, right? I mean, it's just terrible. So there are all of the issues that any young adolescent deals with. Maybe your parents are getting divorced. Maybe you've had to move schools once or more than once, or move homes. Many of our students, they're homeless at some point during the school year. So for those students who are coping with uncertainty, who feel the ground shifting under them all the time, Breakfast Club is a place for them that feels solid. We're going to begin with some dramatic warm-up and some work on movement to pick back up where we were with the world of Norse mythology. When I knew that I was going to be working at Ramay, I asked the leaders of the school if they would entertain the idea of an after-school drama and arts program, and they said, well, let's put some flyers up and see if kids would be interested. And we started out with about 15 kids, and within a few months we had almost 60.
And let's turn this into a big oval, as big an oval as we can get.
The Breakfast Club is an arts integration program that teaches skills for life, school, and work through the arts. We're trying to find creative, sticky ways to learn how to be better people, how to be better students, how to be better citizens, and help students find their own voice and feel validated and safe while they're doing that.
It's exciting, it's loud, and it's very fun. It's an exciting acting experience where you get to be creative, you get to be yourself, you get to express yourself with movement and words in improv, and then eventually you get to perform a play that you help get inspiration for by being you.
I see a lot of students who don't necessarily look energized or don't necessarily look like they feel comfortable or that they feel like they fit in during the day. And then they come after school and I see parts of them blossom. I see kids that did not ever think they would be actors immediately making great acting choices. I see some kids that aren't always treated that well by the general student population who are treated very well here. And so to me, theater is a collective art form. Unless you're doing a one-person show, you always have to rely on the other actors. And so I think it teaches them very quickly to collaborate in a world where perhaps we've taught them to compete.
Students tend to tell on themselves a little bit when we do improvisation, and by that I mean they want to explore scenes that might deal with difficult topics like struggles with friends, struggles with identity, parent problems at home, what it's like to move to a new school. And it's a safe place for them to work out some of those issues and explore some of the problems. And once kids have had a chance to work through some of those difficult topics, they become a lot more confident and they become a lot more willing to problem solve.
Since my schedule doesn't have a lot of creative outlets, I wanted to do something that would wind me down a bit after a stressful day or something.
I've learned that acting is a way to express yourself, maybe like what you're thinking about, and no one will judge you, and you just get to kind of be yourself.
Many of our students don't have a safe environment all the time, especially during those high-risk hours after school. And so it means a lot that they feel that Breakfast Club is a safe family space for them.
You really get to be appreciated for being creative, and you don't have to worry about being weird. You really don't.
Just reminds me, you know, we've worked through some tough issues through sketching and drawing and sculpting and acting and singing and creative movement. And we've left a lot of dark places behind, and that's really awesome and hopeful.